My name is Christian Borges. I'm the Senior Vice President of Marketing at Truex. We're a technology company that is building the next generation of ad products and solutions that are really built for an on-demand and streaming world, really. And with me on the stage today, I have Owen Baker from Fox Networks Group. I have Allison Kennedy from the Ad Council. And I have Jamie Auslander, who is our Senior Vice President of Research and Analytics at Truex as well. So Truex has been a sponsor here of Brand Storytelling since its inception 4 years ago. The first 2 years, we really focused on talking about attention and the fact that we are indeed living in an attention-driven economy, and that attention is, in fact, the world's most precious and powerful resource. Last year, we invited our partners from National Geographic on stage, and they did a powerful presentation that talked about a partnership that they did with Nike, where they tried to break the 2-minute mile. This year, it brings me great pleasure to be here with the Ad Council to talk about some really powerful and relevant campaigns that we worked on together, in addition with Fox Networks Group as well. Campaigns that really touch upon the very core of why we're all here today, which is telling stories. How many people, by show of hands, have ever heard about the Ad Council, know about what the Ad Council is about? Awesome. So it's a warm room. Very good, very good. So you guys know what they're all about, but I do want to give Allison a chance to really talk about the Ad Council, what they're all about, what their mission and objective is. So Allison, take it away.
Thank you, Christian, and thank you again for having us today. I'm so thrilled to be here. This is my first Sundance experience, and it's been going swimmingly so far.
Be nice, everybody.
Yes. And thank you all for knowing who we at the Ad Council are and what we do. For those who may not be as familiar, the Ad Council is a national nonprofit, and we bring together the brightest minds in media, marketing, creative, and technology industries, many of you here today, to solve and address the most pressing social issues facing our nation. Some of them you may be familiar with, like our Smokey Bear wildfire prevention campaign, our Friends Don't Let Friends Drive Drunk campaign, and more recently, our Emmy Award-winning Diversity and Inclusion Love Has No Labels campaign. And again, thank you. And our mission, each year, we take on about 40 issues that we address through communications campaigns to help drive meaningful change in behavior and attitudinal, and attitude, frankly.
Great. And so with that being said, the reason why we're here today is to talk to you specifically about 2 campaigns that we all worked on together. And so with that, Allison, why don't you talk about the campaign specifically, campaign number 1, campaign number 2, however way you walk through it, and let you drive for now.
Excellent. So the first campaign that we'll share with you today is our Love Has No Labels campaign. And this campaign really works to address discrimination and bias, which are 2 of the most pressing issues facing our country. If you've been on Twitter recently, you probably know that. And we know that even though those are 2 pressing issues, 85% of Americans consider themselves unprejudiced. So something doesn't really add up. And what we really need to take into account, is implicit bias. And so the first step in addressing discrimination and bias is understanding our own implicit biases. And so the Love Has No Labels campaign does just that. We'll share a PSA with you, 60-second spot, and then Owen will talk through how we brought that to life and how we were able to use innovative ad products to contextualize and to really land this message and make a meaningful connection with audiences. Because at the end of the day, the work itself is incredibly powerful on its own. You'll see in just a moment. But what we like to do is work with partners who are evolving their ad products, updating their, the way they go to market, innovating on their platforms, and work with them in the early days as a beta test partner. We want to be there to A/B test ad products with you. We want to be there to help refine the way that you go to market to tell your story. And we want to be a partner in innovation with you, pairing that innovation with really stellar campaign creative. And so we'll play this first video.
Don't let me show evil, though it might be all I take. Show me love, show me love, show me love. I got a crick in my neck, limp in my step, cramping in my muscles every time I try to flex. Better than one scared of. But if you throw me love, I'll throw you some more. Let me show cruelty, the hand of asking hate. And don't let me show evil, though it might be all I take. Show me love.
It's a great start.
Excellent. Well, as Allison mentioned, our job was really to sort of amplify the impact of that impressive creative. There's a lot of emotional potency there, and we wanted to use our platforms and an innovative suite of ad products to really elevate the message and allow viewers to connect more deeply with it. We did that in a number of ways, but from an advanced ad products front, one of the ways we did that was through a product called Sponsored Ad Break Video. This enabled the Ad Council and Love Has No Labels to have 100% ownership of an entire ad break. So within a digital content stream across the entire slate of Fox programming, Love Has No Labels enjoyed a full ad break. At the beginning of the ad break, a viewer would encounter a 5-second slate introducing the Love Has No Labels campaign and informing them that a reduced commercial experience was brought to them by Love Has No Labels. So it really was about creating a moment of impact, but also creating a viewer-friendly experience that they wouldn't get elsewhere. Very much a lean-in experience. The result of that was, after the 30-second spot, that the viewer went directly back into their programming. And this allowed a direct transfer of attention from our show content to the Love Has No Labels message, and really created an immersive environment in which the viewer was sort of enveloped in the Love Has No Labels brand story. We also wanted to add a different dimension to the campaign and sort of use our tricks of the trade, leveraging the power of interactivity and creating a personal moment of deep connection. So we used our sponsored ad break engagement format, which, as I described, is an interactive opportunity. It basically creates a multi-layer flexible canvas where a brand can tell a dimensional story using different pieces of creative, using different facts, different pieces of information, whatever they want to convey. But again, it's a high-focus environment, and it allows the viewer to opt in. So viewers are presented, as shown, with the choice to interact with the brand for 30 seconds, or they can receive to traditional commercial load. If they choose the latter, we were able to show them a host of different cuts of the asset that you just saw from Love Has No Labels, a 15, a 30, and a 60, all for different impact purposes, and again, creating that foundation of awareness outside of the interactive experience. For the interactive piece, though, what we really wanted to do was kind of bring this story directly to the viewer in a really intimate and personal way. Brand stories generally, but specifically cause-related stories, do their best work when they hit home. And one of the ways we did that was by leveraging an interactive quiz. As Allison mentioned, the goal of the campaign more broadly was to sort of implore people to have a moment of reflection and think about implicit bias that we all might have that we take out into the world in our interactions with other folks. So what we wanted to do was sort of set the tone with the campaign video in the first frame, and then employ a quiz, as I mentioned. We asked 3 different questions. The result of this was not, indicting the viewer, as it were, but really sort of giving them an opportunity to say, well, have I ever asked a person, where are you really from? It's something that a lot of us may not actually ask ourselves, but it's a really potent moment in which a lot of sort of self-evaluation and self-learning can occur. We were able to, give people kind of an opt-out if they didn't feel comfortable saying yes or no with a not sure response. But the point was that moment of reflection. And we wanted to take it a step further, doing something that was sort of unique to our platform here. Once we had folks who opted into the engagement experience and chose to interact with Love Has No Labels, we really wanted to make them brand ambassadors for the cause. And we did that by giving them an opportunity to use the Love Has No Labels frame and upload their own photo showing love in all of its own forms in their life, and then take that onto their social media platforms and share that with their own community. Again, creating that personal touch that's so important in making this message resonate. And the results were impressive. The engagement format as designed requires 30 seconds of time spent with the brand. Here we saw an abundance of time spent, 44 seconds, again, users choosing to stay within the branded experience, 3.8 clicks per viewer. So that really indicates that viewers were following all the way through, taking the quiz all the way through to the social interaction piece. And again, 4.6% clicks out, so people were very interested in the campaign. People were happy to engage socially, which is what we like to see. And again, it's unique to that interactive experience. We had a number of creatives in rotation thanks to the generosity of the Ad Council, and were able to glean insights from that host of media, and Jamie can attest.
Hi, my name's Jamie, and I run measurement at Truex, and I always welcome the opportunity to get out of my measurement and research cage and come and speak in front of real people. So, you know, that's a nice delight. One of the things that's really fun about working and partnering with an organization like the Ad Council is that they're flexible and that they are invested in learning and testing as they go. And so one of the things that we found was, not surprisingly, the more time consumers spent with Ad Council messaging, especially for Love Has No Labels, the more memorable it was. That is, when we measured for ad recall, we saw that the 60-second video spot drove about 2.5 times more recall or memorability than about a 15-second spot, and about 2 times more than the 30-second spot. And so it allowed us to really kind of understand what is the incremental effect of these different types of ad products. So when we asked people, do you recall seeing a commercial about bias with the message, Love Has No Labels? What we found was, just out there in the wild, there was already this baseline awareness of the messaging, about 13%. Then the 15-second ad, controlling for everything, drove about 20% recall or memorability. And the 30-second drove about 25% recall. And what was interesting is that the 60-second drove about 45% memorability or recall. And it begs the question, what would a 90-second, what would long-form brand storytelling do for your brand? Is this linear? And so one of the things that I really enjoy is asking and trying to answer those questions. I was intrigued by the Monster ad that we saw earlier, thinking about, I bet everybody in this room is going to recall that commercial. It was a 2-minute, I believe, and 30-second ad spot. And so, you know, that is very interesting. We're talking about brand storytelling and long-form content, and I look forward to opportunities to test different ad products. The last thing I'll say, though, is that, interestingly, the interactivity had a special effect. While viewers only had to spend 30 seconds, we know that they invested an additional 15 seconds of their own time. And what's intriguing about that is it was actually able to drive the same amount of recall as a longer format. So by mixing your medium with interactivity and compelling video, you can achieve some really impactful results.
Great. And I would be remiss to mention at this point, as Jamie mentioned, the idea of long-form content for Love Has No Labels in particular. Just a few months ago, we launched our first original short film in partnership. It was directed by David Nutter and written by Lena Waithe. It's called Rising, and it challenges people to answer the question, why does it take a disaster to bring us together? So you can watch that long-form content at lovehasnolabels.com/rising. And that's it with my shameless plug there.
So let's get into this second campaign, Allison. Talk to us about that.
The second campaign that we worked on is called Beyond I Do. It's for our LGBT acceptance campaign, which we just started last year. to address the fact that in 30 states in this country, there are currently not protections on the books for LGBT people, meaning that if you identify as LGBT, you can be fired from your job, evicted from your home, or denied services simply because of how you identify or who you love. And so we worked with Fox Networks Group and Truex to create a really impactful unit that you'll see just after we share this next video.
Here she comes. I, Krista, take you, Jamie, to be my wife.
The ceremony was a blast. It was just like this surreal moment of my dreams are coming true. When we found out that we were pregnant, we were just elated. We were just sitting there waiting for the pediatrician. She said, "Oh, I apologize. She won't be taking you in as a client." We are a lesbian couple, but she's just a baby. She's the one you're denying the service to. And sitting there in that small, cold room, I wanted to cry, just thinking, what did we bring this kid into? We're simply asking to treat our family the same way that you would treat any family.
So for this campaign, we wanted to leverage our interactive engagement format again, really sort of taking a national story locally. And we did that using IP mapping technology to basically figure out where exactly a viewer was encountering this story after they had chosen to engage. And delivering them a personalized message to their location. If their state had protections, we advised them of that status and we gave them kind of the rundown of what that meant in their community. And if they didn't, more importantly, we sort of made them part of the process by realizing that this is affecting folks all around them, and there are ways that they can get involved in the effort to change that. So with the geo-targeted map, again, users were able to sort of interact and see protections not only in their own state, but in other states across the country, really kind of connecting the dots and making them part of the effort. They could also see the content that we just saw there, again, building awareness of people just like them in this country, who need support and who need acknowledgement and who need their help. And this story was really about sort of changing minds in a really intimate way. We had tremendous results from this as well. People chose to spend 50 seconds with the creative, due in large part to, again, the potency of the content, and more than 2 clicks per viewer, which means people were really thumbing through the map and checking out the videos. But most impressively, we saw nearly 9% click-through, which again, as you know, is pretty unheard of when it comes to traditional media, and really speaks to kind of the power of the focused environment in which this story was told. So again, using the ad products to really bring people into the story and then make them part of the solution.
Allison?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I know we are over time, and I don't, want to cut into anyone else. So Christian, I'll let you wrap this up.
Well, without further ado, I mean, this was a powerful, powerful campaigns that we both worked on, that we all worked on. And again, the purpose of being here and presenting this to you is because it's all about storytelling, and storytelling at its core is about humans and bringing humans together, and where brands can connect with humans in a real and powerful way. That's what the Ad Council is about.